Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shadow from SG TCG, bringing you guys the second round to the Sully's Abode local from about 2 weeks ago. So this round, I was facing an RP Law. He won the dice roll and chose to go first to throw me off curve. So I went second. I opened up with two Peronas, which is perfect. I am able to stack my cards how I need to, and I decided to stack it with the Weevil on top, so then I can swing into the Jinbei and then establish both bodies, and the Weevil will draw into the Gravity Blade, so that I'd be set up for removal when I need to use it. So I passed the turn to him. He's at 3 Dawn. He decides to swing 5 with Leader. I take the life just to give me some more cards, and then he plays out a Rush Zoro, swings for 5 again. I counter out with the Pudding for 1k. Don't need to take both life early. Passes the turn. I'm at 4 Dawn. I attach 3 Dawn to Dofi, swing 8 at the Zoro, and use Leader ability to play out the Jinbei and hard play that Weevil from hand with Jinbei's ability to draw into that Gravity Blade. Swung at the Zoro just so that I could start taking the pressure off of me, so this next turn I wouldn't have to worry about 2 swings. So he passed the turn over. He's got the Raise Max that he played his first turn, and he's going to play out a Gordon this turn, which I was not expecting the way he did it, but it was what he needed to do. So he plays the Gordon out and decides to bottom deck the Gordon to minus 3,000 off the Jinbei, bringing him down to 2k, and then swinging with the Raise Max at the Jinbei. I decide to counter out for 1k so that it forces him to have to swing with Leader to the Jinbei if he wants to remove both bodies off the board this turn. So he plays out the Bon Clay to ramp a Don and gets that Don, and then he swings 5 at the Jinbei. I let it go. He bottom decks his Raise Max to use his Leader ability to bottom deck the Weevil, and plays out the Reiju to draw 2 cards back to his hand. So it passes the turn over to me. I am at 6 Don, so I drew into that Boa. I'm going to just swing 5 at lead. He's going to take it, and then I'm going to hard play the Boa and stun the Bon Clay. I choose the Bon Clay since Bon Clay's ability lets him choose any of my characters' attack stat and basically copy it. So if I didn't stun him, he would have been swinging at my Leader for 8k this turn, or 9 if he attaches a Don to it. So here I'm basically set up for next turn to use the Gravity Blade to be able to remove 2 bodies this turn. He hard plays a Reiju, which him being at 5 cards in hand, he was still able to draw the 2 Don since he is at less Don than me. He swings 5 at lead. I take it. I don't have much counter, and I don't want to waste too much of it early on. So he swings again for 6. I take that one as well. He's got no more swings unless he uses his Leader ability and plays out a Rush. But he ends up using the Lead ability and just playing out a Sachi and Penguin, which just ramps him back to 2 Don he just used, or 2 Don back, but he establishes another body, which is rough for me. So he's going to pass his turn. I'm at 8 Don. I use 7 of them to Gravity Blade. I Gravity Blade the Bon Clay and the Reiju, because again, the Bon Clay is going to be the biggest problem if I leave it on board the next turn. And I use the last Don, and I'm going to play a Perona after I swing 5 at the Reiju, which he lets go, which works out perfect for me. So Perona goes. I look at the stack. I'm pretty well off with what I have in the hand. Next turn I'll be at 10 Don. So I'm debating on how I want to set the stack up. So I want to draw into the Boa, it looks like, so that I can stun whatever he plays out. I could have did the Boa, or I could have did the Weevil on the top, so I could draw into Weevil and do the Jinbei play. Realistically, I stacked that pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. That Weevil should have went into the stack where no, actually I know why I did it like that. So I could at least Jinbei Weevil should have went where Jinbei was so that I could have established the body and draw a card. But I stacked it so that I could do Boa, still do leader ability, and looks like draw into a 2K. So I passed the turn to him. He's debating on what he's trying to do. He's at 6 Don since he did do Sachi and Penguin to get himself back up to 4. And I believe this is the turn he finally plays the 5-drop kid, which when he uses his leader ability, he will ramp a Don back. So he swings 5 at life. I only have 3 cards of counter. Ideally, throwing the 1K would have probably been the better thing to do, but I end up using the 2K instead. Does not hurt much, but it would have been better so if he swung bigger at the Boa or at lead, I would have had the 2Ks to block out. But he ends up playing the kid finally on the board. He's going to bottom deck the Perona, and he's going to play out a Bon Clay, which ramps him. Well, one, he's going to get a Don back from the kid ability, and then he's going to ramp a Don from the Bon Clay. Then from those 3 Don, he plays out a Gordon, bottom decks the Gordon to get the Boa down to 5K, and he's going to swing 7 at it. So I end up countering out with the Dofi and the 2K that I have in hand, which is 1K over where I needed to be. So I ended up getting lucky and having just enough counter to get out of that. So he passes the turnover. I Gravity Blade, and I bottom deck the Bon Clay and the 5-cost kid, which now he can't swing at 8, and he can't have the blocker that gives him back to Don. I swing 7 at the Sachi and Penguin and draw into the Jinbei. And I have a Weevil in hand, which draws me into the 2K. So that's why I stacked it the way I did. I forgot I had the Weevil in hand. So I swung 8 at lead again, and he ends up taking it. Doesn't have a lot of cards in hand to counter, and he's trying to find something also, which is probably his kid killer at this point of the game. So here, he's going to tap 5 Don, and he's going to play out the Queen. Use Queen's ability to Don minus to draw 2 cards, and he's going to trash a card. Believe he trashes a Zoro. Doesn't need it at this point of the game. More than likely, here he's fishing for a kid killer. I am in range for it, so if he plays it out with leader ability, he will be able to swing at me for 7K. And I only have a 2K in hand, so whether he swings at the Jinbei or he swings at life, I'm going to have to take the hit. So he's debating here if he wants to swing 7 or swing 5 or 6, but he decides to swing 7 at the Jinbei. I don't have counter to protect it. Again, I only have a 2K, so that has to go. And he uses his leader ability, and he ends up playing out the kid killer with that ability, and he swings at life. I have to take it. I only have a 2K. So I am now down to 1 life. Right here, he's still debating if he wants to do his leader ability by this point. So there goes the kid killer. Swing 7 at life. I take it. Don't have enough counter for it. Pass his turn. Here, I was trying to figure out a way to be able to get rid of both the kid killer and the queen. Ideally, the best thing would have been to do is attach a Don to the Boa, swing 9 at the kid killer, so that it forces him to drop 3 cards to protect it. But I end up swinging just 8 at it, and he dumps 2 2Ks to protect it, which is the smart play. He's going to need that for next turn if he wants to go for lethal. It was either that or I play out another boa and stun it, which I think is what I end up doing. But first, I was trying to see if I can remove it by swinging at it with everything that I have on the field. So yeah, the ideal thing would have been to swing 9 a boa, swing 7 with leader ability. So if you wanted to save it, it would have been a total of 2 cards or the queen blocker. So yeah, I only swing 8 at it, which is still an easy range for 2/2Ks, which is still a lot of counter. But I could have forced him to chuck 3 cards if you really wanted to keep the kid killer. So he chucks the 2/2Ks like I was saying. I attach a Don to Weevil, and I swing 7 at the kid killer. Here, it's the same thing. It would have taken 2 cards to get out of it since he would need a 2K and a 1K, which is what he throws. Then I swing 7 with leader, do the ability, which gives me the Weevil, and I draw into another card, which is a Jinbei, 1K counter. Here, he's debating if he wants to counter with Queen and let it go, or block with Queen and still stun it. He asks how many Don I have left. I only have 6. He was probably expecting a Gravity Blade, but I end up just playing out the boa, stunning the kid killer, which now forces him to have to swing with the queen and leader and potentially, use leader ability to bottom deck and play out another rush card. So here he's going to attach 2 Don to queen and swing for 8. He's debating on how he wants to swing out because, again, it's right here. It's all or nothing for him. I have 5 cards in hand, which you don't know how much counter I could possibly have. For all he knows, they could all be 2/2Ks or a bunch of 2Ks in hand, which 3 of the 5 are counter cards. The other 2 are events. He's asking what I had in the trash to see how much counter I had or how many 2Ks I had. So he could debate and see how he wants to do this. I end up deciding to take the swing. This could have went rough either way, but I know I had enough counter to get out of the 8K swing, so I was trying to bait him out for the attack. Puts all 8 and swings out. Doesn't have anything else, and that is game. If you guys like the content, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below what you guys like to see next time, and catch you guys in the next one.